Minister representing Trade, doesn't China's trade sanctions and threats make a mockery of free trade agreements? And will your government now adopt self-reliance and recreation of industry as policy imperatives? All cars purchased under a government contract, Australian-made, 22% ethanol mandate as exists in Brazil, laws dictating water supply and sewage pumps be made in Australia. Minister, doesn't the free markets Belt and Road reinstate the convict colony?
The Minister representing the Minister for Trade.
Thanks, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for his question. It's an incredibly important question. As he would know, the Australian government has chosen not to enter into a written agreement on the BRI, and one thing that he can be absolutely certain of, is that we will pursue our national interests, and we will pursue our national interests strongly. Now, there have been reports about China placing restrictions on our exports, and we find these deeply troubling. As a matter of fact, there was another report today. Of logs being part of these restrictions, and that's going to impact the Port of Portland and parts of my electorate.
Minister will just resume his seat for a second. Hang on. I'll come to you. I've got to give you the call, okay? Otherwise, you've just we can't hear. Hang on. You're on mute then. Do you want to make a point of order or not? Righto. Okay, that's over. Minister, got the call.
So, Mr Speaker, I could hear what the member was saying. He was actually wanting to be able to hear the answer because he sees this as something that's incredibly important, and he wasn't able to hear it. So he was actually asking for the interjections on the other side.
I'll just say to the Minister, if he'd actually let me give him the call, he could have said that. So, but do you want to swap seats, or what do you want to do?
No, I was just trying to point out...
OK, well, get on with your answer.
Yeah, I was just trying to point out what he was trying to say, Mr Speaker. So I don't know whether you can now hear me, Member for Kennedy, but thank you for your question. And the Australian government has chosen not to enter into a written agreement on the BRI, and we will pursue our national interests incredibly strongly and stand up for it at all times. Now, there have been reports that we've heard about China placing restrictions on our exports, and these are deeply troubling. As a matter of fact, today there were more reports about logs out of the Port of Portland having restrictions placed on them, and I know that this is something that the member for Barker and myself in particular are concerned about. But Chinese authorities have denied these rumours, and we welcome these statements. And given these denials, we would expect Chinese authorities to work as effectively as possible to resolve trade issues in a timely way. We recognise that there are a range of factors behind each trade issue. In the main, China has been at pains to talk about the technical aspects China has alleged non-compliance with various technical import requirements. Now, one of the benefits of CHAFTA, the free trade agreement that we have with China, is that it gives us the parameters to work through these disputes, and that's what we will be seeking to do with China. Now, when it comes to import replacements such as ethanol, government policies, Australian government policies, allow for ethanol in fuel. And as the member would be aware, Queensland and New South Wales actually have E10 standards, and we would encourage other states and territories to adopt similar approaches.